What's up, HOPP? All right, I have a really complex experiment to do. It's going to blow your mind. It's so technological in origin. Not at all. It's called the wave, okay? On this side, we're going to start. You don't have to stand up because it's annoying. You've just eaten lunch. But I am going to ask if you're comfortable to raise your hands and say woo or whatever sort of expression you enjoy. I will guide this thing, and we're going to go from here. You'll see the people in front of you go woo and raise your hands. We'll go all the way up and back around. Ready? Ready? Here we go. Front row, let's do it. Woo! Come on, wave. There it is, all the way in the back. You in the back. All right, the cheap seat's great. Here we go. Back here, up front. There you go, with real power. Yes, give it up, HOPP. All right, thank you for indulging me. Why did we do that? I've been studying the intersection of technology and well-being for about 10 years because they're so intimately involved with each other. And this beautiful space, I was thinking about, what if we already had all of our augmented reality contact lenses and our immersive yada yama and all the cool stuff that I've been thinking about and dreaming about for the past 10 years. You'd see data above people's heads, like your LinkedIn status or what have you. But that event that we just shared together, which I call the merry side of my talk, merry Metaverse is what I'm talking about today. Merry like the word joy, right? And the thing I love about well-being, which I've studied for years, is you don't have to necessarily be in a good mood to have positive well-being. A lot of times well-being is about actions that you take. So even if you're like, what is this guy asking me to do, right? You got your blood moving. You got your physicality involved in something. And also, there's all the cameras that are filming all the speeches. And I'm thinking about, we're in a library, and pretty soon the 3 or 4 different camera angles that just filmed all of us raising our hands could become a VR movie, like the beautiful film that Aletha has showing tomorrow night. And VR and movies in that way, one thing I've been thinking a lot about is it's actually going to change our concept of time as well. Because we'll all film each other's conversations with permission, and we'll start to have different literal angles and views and lenses on our lives that we can share. And we want to go back and relive a moment in time. We can actually, in one sense, relive that moment in time. So this picture is what I'm talking about when I say the metaverse. The metaverse is actually a term created by Neil Stephenson with the book Snow Crash. Anybody? Who are the nerds? Thank you, nerds. We shall bond. The metaverse is this idea of immersive reality, or some people call it extended reality. It's a reality I believe is already here. Right now, you're looking at me, thank you, or you're looking at your phone, cool, up to you. But the point is the digital world is already here, but a lot of us don't think about how visceral our data is, how it represents little shards of our identity. You might be like, who cares? I just tweeted about, the baklava I ate. Well, cool. Well, that means you like baklava. That's part of your values. That's a little piece of you. And this room, at some point with these lenses, we'll look around, and along with these beautiful books in the ceiling, the cherubs on the ceiling, we'll see hundreds, maybe thousands of algorithms represented as moving shapes. These walls will be festooned with data in ways we've never seen it before. So I want to talk to you about my role as executive director of an organization called the Council on Extended Intelligence. It's something that IEEE began with the MIT Media Lab about 6 months ago. IEEE is the world's largest technology association, created by Thomas Alva Edison about 130 years ago. It's got 500,000 members in more than 160 countries. I'm honored that the last 3 or 4 years I've been able to work with IEEE to create not really a code of ethics as much as principles. And those principles, it's a 250-page book because we want the principles to be very practical and say, okay, accountability, and like the amazing work that Tess is doing, wonderful, important words that come first, accountability, etc. What are the next steps to build those things? Same thing that Rena's doing with representing, all the people involved, participant design. Similar to what we're doing in IEEE and the council, this is our, hopefully you can read it, is our mission statement. And we were created to proliferate the ideals of responsible participant design, data agency, and metrics of economic prosperity, prioritizing people and the planet over profit, and productivity. So I want to talk to you about 3 things in our mission statement that we feel frame a positive future. And I want to be crystal clear about something. I love technology. We all do in the council. We also love the people making technology. However, ethics, a lot of times people think of morals, where a lot of times what they don't think about is how ethics also frame your values and your choices and design. So, participant design, Rena also already explained this beautifully, is this logic that if you kind of don't know what your own values are, even to the point where you can name them, and I speak about values all the time, and I'll ask people, list me your values. And for like a couple of minutes, people are like, integrity, pride, faith, kids. And by the time I really push people, they're like, Netflix. You're like, oh, that's kind of a value, you know. But the point I bring up, and this is work like Google and others do so beautifully, is to say when you're actually building something at an algorithmic level and creating a mathematical formula around values, what values actually are with machines, with robots, is the manifestation of a certain action of that device when it is set amidst people in the culture and the context of where they live. That then is the question of what are their values? How do we build to their values? So participant design is the number one thing that we focus a lot on. And that also involves the fact that we shouldn't have this, I think as some Tess pointed out, this man versus machine narrative, people versus. We actually are shifting away from using the term artificial intelligence, not again because we don't love the technology, we do, we're geeks and nerds, yay, but is to say a lot of times when it's framed around artificial intelligence just beat humans at, oh, how is that for my teenage thing right there? At! I tease my son, he's 15, so he's gonna watch this video and give me crap. Anyway, artificial intelligence, when it's man versus machine, that then diminishes both the machines and the humans. And we don't want people reading these headlines thinking, on the one sense, you say that I will have jobs in the future and I will have equality, but I just read 10 headlines, if you Google these types of things, which I do, AI just beat humans at chess. AI just beat humans at Go. AI now take away lawyers, take away this, take away that. So the narrative is something that we're focused on with this new term, extended intelligence. Secondly, I want to talk about data agency. This is an image from a paper that came out from Microsoft just about a month ago about decentralized identity. And a lot of times we get caught up in conversations on privacy, which are important and we should. But the thing about GDPR, which I love, and any type of data protection in general, there's this logic that we are trusting governments and business to do all of the heavy lifting, not just to protect data, because of course, that's what they should do, but to make decisions about the insights about our lives that frame our values. So you can track someone a lot, and in one sense, know them more than they know themselves. And there's beauty in that and wonderful opportunity to help people understand things about themselves they may not realize. But the other half of the equation, now that our digital identities already exist, the glasses, the lenses just aren't on for you to see them. But the thousands and millions of little particles of who you are out there. You also get to say through these new tools, blockchain, differential privacy, decentralized identity. I don't want to get caught up in the specific methodology. But the basic idea of blockchain is sort of, I only have to share this much amount of my data with you for this much amount of time. And in that exchange, that's how we build trust. Brands who are using these tools, insurance companies, banks, they're already shooting through the roof. Pew Internet, others are talking about this, building trust in a brand new way, which does not take away from the companies or the governments. It also doesn't mean you're not paying everybody. It's just this recognition of my values, who I am. I get to have a terms and conditions for who I am with my data. Yes, I'll sign yours too. But when we both have terms and conditions, then it's a contract and a handshake, as compared to, hey, trust me with what I'm going to do with your data. When all the intentions can be good and the work can be good, but then Cambridge Analytica comes around and it's not anyone's fault per se. But the question that I want to have all of you, I want to encourage you not to let this question just linger anymore without the next question. The first question is when people talk about privacy and they'll say, what have you got to hide? Answer them back with this question. What is ours to reveal. And I'm a dad, and I think about my kids who are 15 and 13, and kids who have so much more information about inclusivity, especially with gender issues. And do we want our kids to come home and say, some kid pointed an app at me today and said I was gay? That's already weird and hard to think about in one sense, but in the other sense, the tech could be wrong. And in the biggest sense, who gets to say if they're gay? The person. It's them. Who gets to say if they are Jewish or a Democrat? Right? A data level way for you to have these terms and conditions is not just about the exchange of the data A to B. It's a way for, in the algorithmic world, a way for you to state who you are. Third, economic prosperity in 60 seconds. Here we go. GDP, gross domestic product. Have you in-depth read about it for years, as I have? It's great after dinner reading. Okay, it's about productivity and exponential growth. These are not bad things, but let's be crystal clear. It is still the major marker of success for society, where when you point to it, people can say, our GDP is going up. That means human prosperity is increasing. Where, by the way, it's a cool thing. It's better than going down, but it's one very myopic aspect of prosperity for either an individual on a personal level or society on a larger level. And the good news is the OECD has something called the Better Life Index. The UN SDGs are not saying let's ignore GDP, because like Tess said, GDP goes up with AI, cool. But two things. One, Joseph Stiglitz, my Eric Clapton hero blues level of economics, points out that AI going up by 2030 doesn't mean, to Rena's point, it goes up for the same people in the same way. We have to be careful that the benefits of AI benefit everyone holistically. And secondly, I wish we had more time, but I have to end. But we are not just about our wealth. Our worth is not just about how much money we make. So in closing, all these beautiful tools with VR, we can boost empathy again. Watch Aletha's film, it's fantastic. I have a couple of quick questions to end my talk on, to reframe again this idea of the merry metaverse, this joyful future extended reality, those three things I mentioned: participant design, data agency, and new economic models of prosperity. These questions: how would the world in any reality look different if we shifted our obsession with intelligence? And I use that word intelligence meaning sometimes the focus on cognitive facts, which are great, but sometimes it can say, if I'm not as intelligent as a machine or you, I feel less than. How do we shift that obsession to seek wisdom? You can have a 4-year-old girl say something wiser than anyone else in the room. Do we ignore that? What if kindness was a currency that improved your well-being when you spent it? That's a dream I've had for years, because kindness is free to give. Then we could move from isolation to celebration. The merry metaverse. Thank you very much.